Greetings, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Maybe Pile podcast. I am your host, as always, Kiryoku Wright, and I am joined today by my host, Mummified Tony. Tony, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm about as happy as a seagull with a french fry.
Nice.
Hanging out, doing my thing.
I had a dream where I got bit by an alligator and it gave me malaria.
Really?
Yeah.
Do alligators give people malaria? Is that a thing?
I don't think so. No.
I thought that was a thing that you get from like mosquitoes in Panama or whatever.
As far as I know, that's like exclusively a mosquito thing. I'm not a doctor or a biologist, so I don't know. That was a really weird dream. I just had it, and I was like, "Oh crap! I can feel the malaria." I'm like, "I don't know how you feel malaria."
You can feel the malaria.
I don't know. I mean, dream logic. I'm like, I don't know. I woke up and I'm like, I don't think any of that can happen. But I don't think you can get malaria from alligator bites, and I also don't think you can feel it. Like when you have malaria, I don't think you can feel it. Yeah, I had that, and I woke up and I was like, I have to tell everybody I know about this.
That sounds like an early 2000s sub-rock lyric. Feel the malaria coming in.
No, I
cannot believe I live without you. Feel it all coming round. Do 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 boo boo do.
I had to tell everybody that I knew that I had that crazy dream. I don't know, and I figured what better way to start off today's episode than just spewing that out right away, just like. Alligator malaria. There you
go. Okay, I understand that you had this dream. Now, let's talk about the alligator. How is your relationship with your father?
Relationship with the old man is quite well. Now, the alligator was fairly large. I'd say normal size.
And was he a flat fuck? A flat fuck. Was he?
I don't know. A flat fuck?
Was it a flat fuck Friday alligator? Was he flat?
I want a burger. My mind's like bouncing all over the place today. I'm feeling really fucking good.
That's good. I'm glad for you. I don't know what that means. I mean, did you watch like a nature documentary or something?
No, I didn't watch a damn thing on alligators. I mean, I used to watch Swamp People all the time, but that was like 3 years ago.
Oh god, that show.
I actually kind of liked it. I thought it was alright. I mean, Swamp People just go out and basically fish for alligators. If you want to break it down to the bare bone basics, that's pretty much what it was fishing for gators.
There's a place nearby that actually serves gator nuggets as a appetizer. And I gotta say that they're pretty alright. They're pretty good. I really like them.
This is probably gonna sound really weird, but I always wanted to try some Rocky Mountain oysters.
It's one of those things that you're just like conceptually like ew, but at the same time it's like, well, I mean,
if nothing else, it's a good conversation starter. I ate bull testicles.
It's like, a bucket list kind of thing. Be like, okay, go off and
just to try like different foods, exotic foods like python fillet.
I know a grocery store in New York that like downtown New York that could help you out with that.
Yeah, I actually saw that on Binging with Babish. I saw he went there and
we're both on the same page.
Yeah, he said, he just opened up the freezer. He was looking at the meats and he's like, python fillet. I'm like, I want to eat that now just to see what it tastes like. Like, I have to say I've eaten python fillet. I have to say that I've eaten that. I have to now. Rocky Mountain oysters, gator nuggets, and python fillet on to the bucket list of...
one of the times that I've gone down to Puerto Rico, I actually was able to eat shark empanadas, and that was pretty good. They tasted all right.
I've never been like outside of the U.S., even though Puerto Rico is like a U.S. territory. Yeah, so you don't actually need a passport to go there, which is really fucking cool.
Yeah, but you need a basic level of Spanish comprehension in order to function there, because that's their primary language.
Yeah, sadly my Spanish is complete crap, and I just realized I've been tapping on the plastic of my mouse, and that's been making little bumps in my audio. Fuck.
Yeah, it's alright.
Sorry.
I'll clean it out.
Sorry, but I know every time I'm a fidgeter. I'm constantly moving, tapping, twirling like pencils. I'm constantly twirling a pencil between my fingers, or a drinking straw. Something, I don't know why. I'm a fidgeter.
There was a couple episodes back that I had these Velcro cable ties that I got with something I bought new. I think it was the mic stand that I'm currently working with, and I was just sitting there like with the Velcro back and forth, and I'm like, Tony, you fucking idiot, what are you doing? I'm just like, why would you do that to yourself? Would you not respect me, past Tony? I'm sorry, future Tony.
Oh man, that sounds like really satisfying in the moment you're doing it, but then when you realize I have to cut all of that out, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm like one of the few people that actually used fidget spinners, not because like I needed to or anything, but because it was just actually really fun for me.
I held out for like the longest time for buying a fidget spinner because like I didn't just want like the same shitty plastic ones that like everybody had. I actually have I think in my work backpack I still have my like 5-pound like solid aluminum one.
Ooh, that's nice.
It's one of those like anodized aluminum ones that like go from yellow to purple.
I had like a shitty one because it's broken now. I still have it, but it's fucking busted. Because we were down at, I got it at the last BronyCon. We were just chilling out in the stand, and one of our friends who was manning another booth, they were, I guess she just had one lying around, and she's like, hey, I don't know what to do with this. I'm probably gonna throw it away. And I was like, you know what? I want to see what they're about. Let me have it if you don't mind. She's like, hey, whatever, man. It's a piece of junk, but here you go. So she tossed it to me, and I grabbed it, and I played with it the entire day. Just the entire fucking day and the day after. So like for 2 of the 3 days of the final BronyCon, I'm just sitting there like fidget spinner in hand, just constantly flicking it around and fucking with it. It's like, yeah, cool. There's
a reason they were like super popular. They definitely do hold a very, important. They're fun. They definitely have a funness to them that after a while does wear off. But I don't think there's a single person out there who's just like, nah, it's just not for me. I played it. I spun it a couple of times. Whatever. It's like it satisfies that little something.
Maybe some type of human need for some type of symmetry or something. There's probably a psychological reason behind the entire thing that I don't get.
Or like the smoothness of being able to just like have something and playing with a ball bearing and just spinning something and it just keeps going.
Yeah, really.
I mean, like, there's not a single PC builder out there who didn't like crack open a fan and then just take their fingers between one of the fan blades and just
Well, that was fun. Yeah, whenever I built my PC, I did that with my fans. And a funny story. I don't know if I told this already, but whenever I built my PC, I had to have my tech guy come down and actually rebuild it because I fucked it up. I put the components in right. I plugged all the wires in the wrong way. So I put it together right. I just wired it incorrectly.
Knowing what I know about computers and how the plugs mostly go in, how did you mess up plugging in the wires wrong?
You tell me. I don't know. I have no idea. My my animator, who was also, he studies computers and everything, he was like, I was using Discord and, like the camera and everything, and I was just sitting there holding my phone inside the case. I was like, is this right? And he's in Britain, so he was like, it was like 2 a.m. for him, I think. And he was like, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. So, but how I actually wired it wrong, I have no idea. I guess my camera was probably too shitty, and he was too tired to catch it, and I was just too stupid. But it's whatever. I mean, I put the components in right, so that's a win for me, because this is the first PC I ever built, the one I'm using right now. A little bit of pride, but a little bit of embarrassment, considering I had to have another guy come in and just rewire it. Because I asked him, because it wasn't working. Like, it was absolutely not fucking working. I texted my tech guy, and I was like, hey, man, can you, take a look at my PC? I just built it. It's not working. I think I put something in wrong. He's like, yeah, sure, bring it by my place, whatever. So I do that. I drop it off. He's like, okay, I'll see you in a couple days or whatever when I get to it, because he's a busy guy. And I come back a couple days later, pick it up, and I'm like, so did I ruin anything? And did I put a component in wrong? Did whatever? Did I squirt too much thermal paste all over the place? What the fuck did I do? He's like, oh, you just wired it wrong. Really, that's it? He's like, yeah, it was built just fine. You just wired it the wrong way. Oh well.
Okay.
That was me. So I don't really have anything else going on. So what have you been up to?
Oh, since the last time we record, a lot of. I feel like my life has been nothing but like building tiny hills and just making small incremental adjustments to things in my life. After I couldn't remember how long it's been, but after about, I want to say about 16 years, I finally beat Final Fantasy X. For those of you who know like the whole story around Final Fantasy X, I forever ago when I was a kid, when I bought it at Target in like the greatest hits section or whatever, I got all the way to the top of Mount Gagazet. So pretty much, I want to say about like 2/3 of the way through the game, got to the top of this mountain, faced a boss at this point, and then was like, could never defeat him. Tried forever. And it's one of those that's just like try, just never getting there. And so finally I'm just like, screw it, I'm done. So I just like put it down, never came back. I think I tried a couple of years later to beat it again, but then finally like got to that same point, struggled the exact same amount, and then was like, this is impossible, I'm done, and like put it down forever ago. And then finally, after, like I said, 16 years after purchasing the game, I finally actually beat the game, beat that boss battle, got the rest of the way through the game, and then just finished it. And I'm like, yes, finally. I think, honestly, like, no, wait, I tweeted out the fact that it was like, I think this is the first game that I bought the strategy guide for and actually beat for the first time, like the first RPG. But then I started thinking about it. It's like, wait, no, I own the strategy guide for Kingdom Hearts, and I have definitely beaten that game multiple times.
What was your reaction when you finally beat that boss?
It was just like, fine, sit down. Because this time around, I was like much further leveled than I was prior. This time around, I was like, twice, or it was just like, I was practically one-hitting him at this point. Nice. I was just like, done. Sit down. Get out of my face. I'm done with you. What? Kind of thing.
Yeah. So like, was it just the fact that you were so OP? Or was there like a strategy or a tip or a trick or something that you didn't use before that you use now?
No, I honestly, it's pretty much that I was just extremely over-leveled at that point. There's a part where early in the game, I want to say like maybe a third to halfway through the game, there's a temple that you go to receive a summon ability. There's places that you gotta stop along this pilgrimage that your characters go on, that like you gotta stop, pick up an Aeon, or you're able to summon this new person for your white mage to be able to help out in battles and whatnot, and eventually the final one that you use to fight the final boss to save all of Spira, that kind of whole thing. You go down to this one temple that you pick up the ice summon, Shiva, and she goes off and you're able to start using her in battle. Well, the plot around that time is that you're then not witness to the murder of somebody, but you're now being blamed for the murder of somebody or attacking someone in a higher position. So now you're then outlaws. So you have to run away from the temple. And as you're running away from the temple on this long spiral staircase, these guards are coming after you. And I was leveled up enough that I was able to just one-hit all these guys. So since I was playing on my computer with a properly BIOS, I did all the proper legal things to take my PS2 that I have in a box and bring it, yada yada. I did it legally. Instead of like constantly playing on my 360 controller and just tapping and just being like kill, 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 I set up a macro on my keyboard to just hit X over and over and over and over and over again. So that way it was just like X, wait a second, X, wait a second, X, wait a second. So when I was fighting these guys, I had three characters that were always fighting. I would just be like, okay, attack, 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 and it's a never ending stream of these guys coming out of the temple, coming after you. So I was just like, all right, macro, it's just going to hit X, 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 X over and over and over and over again until I tell it to stop. So then I was just like, all right, put it down, go to the bathroom, take a shower, do whatever, come back. All right, cool. I'm 50 levels higher. So I'm just like, sweet, great. And I had like a whack ton of the actual special item that I was honestly running low on at that time. And none of my guys died either. I was like, sweet. All right, let's do this.
Fucking A, dude.
So it was pretty great. I was like, all right, cool. I don't have to worry about anybody dying. I was pretty overleveled for those 3 guys. And then also what came of that was that I was able to use these 3 people overleveled and sort of use them to carry one person at a time to get them overleveled as well. So eventually it was like, all right, go do your thing. And then they do something and be like, that's cute. Whack. Whack, done. Okay, the person A gets a little bit of experience while B and C get a little bit of experience while the other person is just all right, cool. So I just kind of like carried a lot of them, get them to, a super high level and be like, great, cool. So I was just like, great, everything's perfectly fine. I'm just overkilling everybody and just be like, haha, just swinging my way through everything, almost to the detriment of the challenge of the entire thing. I played through the entire game and only had 1 game over. And that's because one of the bosses at like the very late stages of the game has a spell that called Megadeth that literally just is like, okay, if you don't have this one affliction, zombie is an affliction, kind of like silence or death or silence or poison or, things like that. Zombie is if you're attacked, you gain life. If you try to heal yourself, you're dealt damage. So when she casts Megadeth, if you don't have zombie on, it'll be like, oh, you're alive? Guess what? Dead. It just instantly is just death. Your character dies. And I was just like, what the fuck bullshit is this? So then it's like, yo, what the hell is this? And then they're like, oh yeah, just let your characters be zombified and then, or have the affliction zombie and then you'll survive. And I'm like, well, that's dumb. I'm like, okay, I guess. So I did it. And then I was like, all right, cool, great, fighter, beater, done, and everything's back to normal. Just like poison and whatnot. It's like, okay, great. Take this antidote, you're done. It's honestly a really great game, and I really, really like it.
You basically just gave me a crash course.
Crash course and like the tip for like the 4th to last big boss.
It was just kind of interesting listening to you like go through all that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool how you did that.
It's pretty great game. It's it's classic like JRPG of having like 1,000 things that you could micromanage about your characters and sort of like fine tune them up to being just essentially god slayers and just being like, sit down, beat you. I'm the strongest one here. It got to the point where it's like, I was beating bosses so hard that I was like, yeah, I mean, they're like, I mean, do you think you have the power? Do you think you could overcome the whatever to defeat the god of, essentially the religion that we all follow? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to come up and stab him and then walk away. I'm that good. It's just like, it got so bad. I was so overleveled. I was like, all right, let's do this. It's done.
I love it. I love those games where you can just grind, and just become so OP that nothing kills you, nothing really affects you. The game is essentially boring. You're just playing it to complete it at that point.
Oh yeah. And it got to the point where I was running through all these monsters and whatnot. Like I was just fighting them, and it's like, okay, great. And my damage was being maxed out at 4 9s, 9,999 damage. Okay. And I'm like, cool, I guess that's awesome. And then I started running into enemies that had more life than 4 9s. They actually had like 5 digits worth of life, so I wasn't able to just one hit them all the time. Great. Okay, the first one didn't get you. Guess what? The second one definitely got you. Eventually you're able to go do all this fetch quest bullshit of being like, okay, you got to go over here to get the cloudy mirror. Then you take the cloudy mirror to this forest and then you hold it up in front of this other thing to make the celestial mirror. And then you go off to this side of the world to get, you have to go on a fetch quest for the weapon that is going to be absolutely garbage, and then 2 items to help unlock that weapon. You had, for all 7 characters that were in your party, each had their own weapon, and each one of their weapons had a sigil and a signet named after one of the planets. So they had also the moon, I guess. There was a moon sigil and a moon signet. And then there's like Venus, Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, all these other things. Like you had to get 3 of these items, and you had to do these like bullshit things like go hunt down all these butterflies, go race the chocobo trainer and beat them with a score of 0 seconds. And it's like, oh, this is bullshit. Like, and then having games that I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that that crap for those items. I was like, you know what? This item that has to have you do some bullshit controls of, some dumb game. Guess what? Hey, a cheat code. Can I get this one item here real quick? Yeah, sure. Okay, here you go. It's in your system now. Thank you. And then I was like, I did have to cheat in a couple of them because like some of these like things are so dumb because it's like, oh, you gotta go capture all the butterflies. And I'm like, if you don't, it's one of those things that if you don't run perfectly through this maze, you're just completely and totally screwed. And it's just like, great. Even though I knew exactly the pattern, even though I was running perfectly through this, sometimes PlayStation games have like collision problems where you can't necessarily tell where your character is supposed to be walking. So then it's like, okay, well, I'm trying to get around this thing, but it keeps being like, oh, guess what it is? I'm like, damn it. So I messed up. So I'm like, hey, can I get that thing? Yeah, sure. Done. Yeah. So eventually I got through everything else, got all these items, and then these special end of game weapons actually get you up to 5 nines. So 99,999 damage would be your max at that point. And so I was like, great. Cool, did it. Getting all the end game stuff as well. So I was like, sweet. Whack, dead. Whack, dead. Whack, dead. Get out of my way. I've actually been noticing a lot that I've been hesitant to go back to podcasts that I listened to. As I mentioned 2 episodes ago, about how I listened to The Weekly Planet, news TV's comic book TV show or podcast, where these 2 guys talk about, video games and comic book news and, this from the Snyder Cut and blah, blah, blah. It's just 2 guys like talking to each other in this guy's house in the recording studio, whatever, going through it. And I'm like, great, I can sit there and listen to this show. Great, perfect, wonderful. But then there's other shows that I listen to, like Wait, Don't Tell Me, the NPR. Wait is the news quiz. Ask Me Another is their regular show. It's 2 game shows that they have that is sort of like guest driven, and they go to a place and they perform live for a crowd, but it's been adapted for a over the internet sort of conversation, much like we're doing. And the amount of like, I just don't want to listen to it anymore because it's always like starting off with like, hey, this is kind of quaint. This is kind of an intimate version of what we're used to. I'm just like at the point where I'm like, I don't care anymore. I sympathize. It reminds me of like the problems that we have out in the world. And it's sort of like, I don't know how to put it. It's like more of a dredge to get through now. Having to deal with it. It's like, oh, well, I guess this is just the world we live in, right, guys? And it's like, well, sure, I guess.
I hate it when people say things like that. Not to interject, but I hate it when people say things like, oh, it's just the world we live in, or my dad says this all the time. I hate it when he says it. It is what it is. I absolutely fucking hate that phrase. It is what it is. I don't know why. That irks me. It annoys me because things can always change, and they can always change for the better. And I've always had that mindset that you can make a change, and you can make a change for yourself, and you can do things, you can make things better, just kind of move forward. And I always hate it when somebody, has like that. It's not pessimistic. What would it be called?
Nihilistic? Nihilism is like the idea that nothing really matters and that nothing really. It's just, I guess, whatever. We're all going to die someday, so why bother?
Maybe in a less extreme version. It's like being static, I guess, where it's just kind of you're there. and you don't really try to move forward. You don't move backward, but you don't really try to move forward. You just kind of stay where you are. That's the stuff I can't stand. When people say it is what it is, and they mean it in that way, I can't.
Complacency?
Complacency. That's it. That's the fucking word. I couldn't find the damn word. There we go. Yeah, I hate complacency. I hate people that have that. Well, I don't hate people, but I hate it when people have that mindset. So I can't stand stuff like that, because I'm always one for always just kind of moving on, bettering things and stuff like that. That's what I always try to.
I've started watching a couple episodes of Beastars, the Netflix original like furry anime.
Oh, okay.
The one with the wolf and the little white rabbit.
Yeah. So how is it? What do you think of it?
It's pretty good so far. I got to just after the school play. For those of you who have watched it, I think it's either episode 4 or episode 5. Some revelations have been made about a connection between the deer Louis. The deer Louis and a certain other character that I don't want to spoil for anybody. And then their Legoshi has gone on, has officially like had lunch or had a meal with the White Rabbit girl. That's where I'm at with the story. Is like they've had that thing, they had a meal together. The play is over and something is about to. Summer was just about to start, and there was some festival for some meteor, whatever. And it's one of the things that I've obviously from the very start of the anime. It's very cool how there's a the implications of the fact that there are carnivores and herbivores in this world living together is, right there. It's smack dab in the front of everybody's minds. Oh. And it is a constant prevailing fear that all the herbivores have, is that the carnivores are going to just suddenly just be like, oh, they're going to eat us, and oh, it's a wolf, and I'm nervous around this person because they have fangs and they're so much bigger than they're going to eat me. And part of this is exacerbated because of the fact that the very first shot of the anime starts with this alpaca being attacked and eaten by a shadow. We don't see who it is, but a shadow carnivore that, is just devours them whole and or eats them or whatever.
What did you say this was called?
Beastars. Beast, but the ST at the end of Beast starts the ST in stars. So Beast Stars. Beastars. It's pretty good. And kind of following Legoshi and what he's all about and sort of like what goes through his mind, and he's kind of very like, all right, I guess, sure, all right, I'll go do this. And in his mind he's it's not so much an Eeyore character, but still like, whatever, I guess I'll just go off and do this because this is what I have to do. And he's very much like, this is the world telling me what to do, and in his mind he's like, well, I can't do this, so I have to like find a way of finding an out of this situation, because he gets into a fight and he's like, well, I don't want to fight. How can I make it look like I lost without making it look like I threw the fight? And it's like, very interesting.
When you started describing him, he sounded like just your generic emo person.
Yeah, but it's not emo in the sense of like, oh, nothing matters, why do I even bother? It's more of just yeah, okay, cool, I guess I'll go do this. Like, things in the world matter to him, but he's not used to giving weight to things that matter, I guess. Could be a way of thinking about it. I don't know. You'd really have to like watch the anime to sort of get the nuances of like what it is for him to be that character, and it's very well established. But anyway, as I was saying, it's like, okay, yeah, all the herbivores are worried that a carnivore is going to eat them because they never catch the actual carnivore that actually is it. So it's like, okay, yeah, this is prevalent on everybody's mind because it just happened. It's a little bit more like on the forefront on everybody's mind rather than in comparison to the movie Zootopia, where it's like, okay, this is just something that could be sort of interpreted as another way of like talking about racism without actually being whatever. But it's so much more heavier in Beastars to the point where it's almost like everybody is okay with being just slightly racist. It's like, okay, there are characters in there that are like, oh, blah, 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 I'm a raccoon, so that makes us naturally more, like, who talks about that? Who would just say these things openly? Be like, oh, yes, I'm so-and-so, and I'm this, so clearly that makes me better at being this way. It's like, huh? What? It's just awkward and weird how that could be a way of thinking, so to speak. Like, obviously I'm taller than you, but that's not going to be like, aha, I am a taller person, Kay, so therefore I get, I don't know, the good Captain Crunch? I don't know.
I mean, if for whatever reason we're like doing a convention or something together, I could ask you to reach the tall stuff, I suppose.
I mean, you really got to hand it to short people because they just can't reach the top shelf.
I mean, I'm 5'10". I'm not short in the general sense, I suppose, but I am definitely not 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'2", like a lot of my...
A great mighty oak like me, towering above everyone else.
Well, I say all those different heights because, you know, like, you are, 6'3", I believe?
Yeah, depends on what Circle K I'm walking out of.
You're like 6'3", the owner of the store we're still trying to open, is still coming, by the way, stay tuned. He's like 6'4", he's up there. He has a friend that always comes down to accompany him, he's like 6'4". There's another guy, he's a kind of a dick, he's like 6'2" or 6'3". All these people are like, well, not well over, but these people are like topping 6 feet. I'm just sitting here like, I'm not short, damn it, but I feel like I am. Son of a bitch. I don't know. So, and my old man's also 6 feet, so I'm like constantly just 2 inches, like minimum, I'm like 2 inches below everybody. All the males, that is.
You just gotta stand up and like, sort of like, stand up straight and be like,
I am standing up.
Remember not to slouch around these people.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of weird because I'm just constantly slightly tilting my head. It's like, is this how short women feel or something? I don't know. But
yeah, it's a really good anime. Cool. I really like it a lot.
I have it up on my Netflix right now. I'll watch the first episode as soon as we're done here, and may as well see what happens. Maybe it'll be something I like as well. I mean,
I've been enjoying it. I think it's pretty good. It's telling a interesting story. I only stopped because it was like midnight, 1 a.m. and I'm like, I should probably go to bed.
I was like, my eyes were in pain last night because I stayed up staring at a screen for way too long. It was like 7 or 8 a.m. before I finally hit the sack, and it was ridiculous. I was grinding out on GTA, still playing it, and I was grinding that out, and it was like 6 a.m. I think. It was 5 or 6, I don't know what it was. And power goes out, and I'm just like, son of a bitch. So, you know, and that fucks up. It was only out for a little bit, but it fucked up the Wi-Fi, so I'm like, well, so much for that. So it's just, you know, lie around and watch YouTube on my phone using my data for a little while. And like 8 a.m., I'm finally like, I should really go to bed because I'm feeling lightheaded. My vision's a little blurry, more so than it should be. And I try to go to sleep, and I'm like, fuck, I can't. Like, I cannot, wind down. It sucked. About an hour later, I finally wound down, but it was fucking terrible. That happens from time to time. Sucks.
Yeah, you gotta avoid doing that. Don't let yourself sit there and look at your phone for hours while you're in bed.
Yeah, it's like, apparently that's really shitty for you to do. Like, it's really shitty to do.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. And not only just the fact that you're staring at a screen for, 2 or 3 hours, so therefore you're blinking less, so therefore your eyes are drying out, and you're, constantly holding a focus on a screen, but also the fact that you're looking at a bright screen in a dark room that fucks up your rods and cones in your eyes so bad.
Right.
It's like, ugh, yikes.
Thankfully, I'm not... actually, I don't really do dark rooms. I'm not... Hard to explain. I'm not afraid of the dark in any way, shape, or form, but I constantly have lights on because I like to see, and I have like really poor vision anyway, so another reason for me not to do that because I don't want to damage my eyes further. And so if I'm, if like I'm like in bed or something, I'll just take my glasses off and then I'll just start staring at my phone and stuff. So I usually have lights on so that way I can navigate a little bit better when I got like take a piss, go get a drink, whatever. So I usually have lights on all the time, and I usually sleep with something on so I can wake up because I small bladder, so I piss a lot. So I usually have a light on somewhere in the corner or something, so when I get up to, take a leak, I can still see my way around. So I very rarely am in a completely dark room. If I am, no big deal. I mean, I was because the power went out, so I was just like, whatever. So, but the dark room thing, that's not really a big deal for me, but I understand that staring directly at a screen is still, like, really, really bad for your eyes, so I do need to avoid that. Also, I don't game in the dark either, unlike probably 99% of gamers. I just don't do it because I know that is shitty for your eyes. And also, when I'm holding my controller or my keyboard and mouse or something, I don't look down, but for some reason, I don't know, it's like, if I can't look down and see my controller, it's for some reason I just kind of lose focus. I'm like, where's the button? But it's like, I know where it is. It's muscle memory. I've been playing these games for years. But if I don't have the light on, it's just like, where's the button again? I just can't fucking see it right. I don't know what it is. I am really fucking weird.
It's weird that you mentioned that because I played through all of, like I was saying earlier, for those of you who didn't miss it, rewind again where I talked about Final Fantasy for 20 minutes. I played Final Fantasy on my computer all the way through on a 360 controller. I didn't remap any of the buttons. I didn't do anything weird for that. I just was exactly the same controls. Well, I still had the bottom button as X, the right button as circle, top button as triangle, right button as square. How the PlayStation controller is supposed to be laid out. It just naturally came that way when I just plugged in, and luckily the program I was using was very much like, oh, it's a 360 controller, so that means you want it like this, right? Yes, exactly like the PlayStation controller. And it's like, okay, great. Not once did I ever have to be like, wait, which button is X again? And it's like, no, it was so. I haven't owned a Sony console since the PlayStation 2, yet without flaw, without ever having to think about which button is where, perfectly executed on which direction I was pressing, and perfectly, I never was like, why is it not working? Oh, I'm actually hitting a square. Never. I just naturally was going through the entire game without having to second guess anything.
Oh, so was that like just muscle memory or what?
I think I want to say it's half muscle memory, half just the way that we're naturally intuitiveness to how these controllers work, because I have my 360 controller now in my hand, and I'm sitting there thinking about it. It's like, okay, what is the bottom button on every controller ever? Typically your select or your confirm button. With Xbox, it's A. With a Sony controller, it's X. With most Nintendo controls, let me look at my Wii U pad real quick.
It's a console that never had a Wii.
I don't know. The bottom button is B, but I can't remember if that one actually follows a trend or not. I don't know. Either way, it just speaks to the intuitiveness that through both of these controllers, they're designed exactly the same way. Bottom is confirmed, right is a back, top is a menu button more often than not. Right. The left button is some sort of like alternative command. Square in games is so like could be anything button, but all the buttons are always laid out in the same direction. Granted, there's also a right bumper, right trigger, and there's an R1 and R2 on Xbox and PlayStation respectively. These controllers are almost exactly the same thing, and I'm like shocked that I was able to go through the entire game using the exact same controller. I never played with the lights off, but I don't think I ever questioned which buttons go where.
Yeah, it's
even in like rapid fire, like gotta put it in the right combo quickly.
It's cool that you did that. Just the whole entire game is not a single problem in the world, just done. That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't rebind anything. I didn't do anything. It was just naturally that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what my deal is. If it's just if I'm in a dark room and I'm trying to game, I just can't. It's like I can't see my controller. But you don't look at your controller. I know, but I just can't fucking see it. It makes no sense.
I can understand a situation where like you don't have like a backlit keyboard and you're trying to type in the dark. It's like, well, that could make sense.
I actually do have a backlit keyboard, so if I really wanted to, I could turn off the lights in my current basement's office, and I could do that. But the reason I leave these lights on is because not only is the
You're afraid the spiders are going to get you?
That, and also, the light switch is all the way over there, like on the other wall, and it's so far away. I don't want to do that. And also because there's like a fuck ton of like shit down here, and I walk barefoot, so I could just see myself stubbing my motherfucking toe on like 6 different things to get from the door to my computer, you know, to get to my bedroom. There are just so many like foot hazards, and I just don't want to risk it. So I'm just like, I'll just leave the fucking lights on. Why not? It doesn't matter. I don't know. I can just see people like, oh my god, Kay's afraid of the dark.
I don't think anybody actually complains or states that fact anymore. It's like nobody.
I think it's more or less people are afraid of what's in the dark, quote unquote, whatever. You know, I think that's always been the fear. It's not the dark itself. It's unless you have like a fear of not being able to see. But you know, for me, it's practical reasons. I just don't want to hit my foot on things.
Okay, so you have a fear of not wanting to see. Okay, let's try to fix that. Close your eyes for a second.
No, a fear of not being able to see, you know, with your eyes open, maybe, I guess. I don't know. It's a little hard to explain. Like, the lights go out, you can't see, so maybe that's your fear.
I get it. It's unnerving for some, I would believe, yeah.
I've never actually met a single person who's like, oh, I'm afraid of the dark. Me and my friends treat like that shit as a joke. Like, if the power goes out, we just scream, oh, we're afraid of the dark. Just, it's hilarious.
I used to have a joke back in high school whenever, like, the lights would go out for a second and then come back on. Be like, wait, did we all blink at the same time? And then we're like, dang it, Anthony, stop
That's
it.
Funny. That's definitely a high school joke for sure. I don't know how this is going to work with the current world climate, or the current world stuff, but I think I'm supposed to.
The situation.
I think I'm supposed to have my first high school reunion either this year or next year. I mean, obviously this year is not going to fucking happen, but I think next year is supposed to be when I have it. Question mark. I don't know.
What, like a 10-year?
5 years. I don't know. Do we do 5 year or 10 year? I forget.
I have not been invited to any of my high school reunions.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was 5 year. I'm not sure. I don't know how it works. I have absolutely no idea. I don't think I'm going to be invited because, I mean, nobody ever bothered with me, so it's just like, whatever. I don't know how it works. I don't know how they keep up with the people who graduate. I have no idea how it works in any way, shape, or form. Oh,
it probably, like, back in the day, I couldn't imagine, like, hunting down everybody and trying to do that. Nowadays, it's just like, yeah, go on Facebook.
Yeah, it's like Facebook, location, done.
Or, like, just friends of friends, because, like, there are still, like, a good 5 or 10 people that are on my Facebook group or friends list that I went to high school with. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm living with one of the guys I went to high school with. So there's obviously always going to be like some sort of like echoes of a connection somewhere.
I don't think I talked to anyone hardly that I went to school with. I met up with one of the guys I went with. He's like a childhood friend, so he wasn't like just a strictly high school friend, but he was like a childhood friend. And I only talked to the guy for like maybe collectively 10 minutes at most, and that's it. I mean, he's a great guy. He's absolutely fantastic, but it's just, you know, just, hey, how's it going? What you doing? Not much. Okay, cool. It's like there's no, like, excitement there. It's like, oh my god, how's it going? You know, there's none of that.
I see a couple of guys I went to high school with on Facebook every once in a while. I'm just like, cool. Glad they're out there, you know, living their life, you know?
I am friends with a fuck ton of people I went to high school with on Facebook, but I don't use Facebook, so just... I have no idea what they're up to. I don't search their names. I don't look at statuses. And honestly, if my parents didn't use Messenger as a way to communicate, I would not have Facebook whatsoever. I have it strictly for Messenger because it's just an easy way to talk with them.
Right. Yeah, and that's how mostly what people use Facebook for nowadays. I mean, like, I don't feel like anybody actively, you know, cares about their Facebook. It's just something that we're sort of all required to have. It's like, okay, great. And even if I found out the other day that apparently, even if you don't have a Facebook profile and you've never set one up, Facebook still has a profile on you.
That's creepy.
Yeah. It's like, no, just because you've never signed up and you've never said, this is who I am, Facebook knows who you are. Like, just through sort of peripheral sort of understanding of who you hang out with and whatnot, they're able to be like, okay, there is an unknown person in this picture that we see across multiple accounts, but we don't have a face to put that to. Okay, we need to put a profile to that person, so to speak. And so they kind of know who you are, but they just don't have definitive, agreed upon information that they have on you. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Excuse me while I look at NordVPN prices.
Private internet access, PIA.
Tor.
Onion.
Just use Tor. Just use the Onion, man.
Just use the Onion, man. The Onion network. It's fine. But actually, from what I understand, I think big companies like that actually still do have a presence on Tor and Onion nets.
I mean, Tor is it's literally just like it's just a browser, isn't it? Or is it what is it? I forget what it is exactly.
There is a second disconnected web that people are able to use that doesn't interact with the regular web.
Right.
And I think TorNet is actually a separate. I don't know. Go look up like Linus Tech Tips fast as possible or Tech Quickie or whatever on Tor. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I think
I'll
they
check
explain it.
Yeah, I was asking like a few of my friends about it, like tech savvy friends, and I mean Tor is perfect. They said Tor is like perfectly fine to use. It's pretty good. It's just I think they said it just loads a little slower. I don't know. I'm not sure if that was just their crappy internet or what. I mean, because you can access anything through it, like anything, but you can just like access regular things like Facebook, whatever. You can do that through Tor. I mean, everybody's like deep web, but it's like you could also just use it for normal internet stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't mind having like a VPN. That would be kind of cool. That would be kind of nice to.
I'm on PIA right now. I'm using it every day.
Private internet what?
Private internet access. PIA.
Access. Yeah. Okay, private internet access.
I mean, I'm not sponsored. I'm not anything like that.
I wish we were.
From what I understand, from what I've experienced, it's pretty good. I mean, I feel almost no impact on my day-to-day browsing of the internet. I feel no difference, but every once in a while, it's like I'm reminded of it, and it's like, oh, hey, is this DVD available or this Blu-ray or whatever available in a store near me? And then it's like, oh yeah, in Burbank, California. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It thinks I'm in Burbank right now. Let's try this zip code. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll search for that zip code. Weird that you're looking for something in Mesa, Arizona when your VPN is in Burbank. And I'm like, yeah, that is weird, huh?
So, I'm curious, do you still get like those personalized ads? Like if you Google something one time, it just shits out a crap ton of ads for that thing?
No, because I have ad block running, so I don't see ads. I mean, sometimes I might get one on like my phone or something that is like I don't know, I googled or something a computer part or whatever, and then they're like, hey, you like computer parts, right? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess. I mean, like, it's not going to disable cookies and sort of search history and whatnot for my regular internet needs. I'm not using incognito mode, so it technically could still figure out where I am. I'm not using the best practices when it comes to anonymizing my internet activity, but it's something.
I feel bad for the person who would ever attempt to look at my search history because they would be bored out of their fucking minds.
People are always complaining about that. Be like, oh, I gotta delete my search history, and I'm like, why? Why? Like,
now, granted, I don't want people looking through mine, but it would just be boring. I mean, you would have more fun going to a library. Let me tell you that much right now.
By the way, support your local library. Your libraries need help now more than ever, so make sure that you're visiting and whatnot.
I can promise you would be more entertained going to a random stranger's funeral than you would be looking through my search history.
It's like, okay, great. What do you want to know? Like, the fact that I've been looking for cosplay stuff. Okay, who won the War of 1812? Cheat ideas or strategy for Final Fantasy X. Who voiced this character in this anime? Like, 90% of people's search histories are probably boring as hell. You probably just nobody would care at all.
At the very best, it would probably most likely just be random. Like, that's what
Great.
mine is. It's boring and it's random. Because my mind's thinking at 1,000,000 miles an hour, so I'm just constantly thinking of things. I wonder what that is. I wonder what this is. So my Google is just completely random. I'm pretty sure I made my browser schizophrenic.
And then at best, it's like, great, I know what porn site you're on. Oh boy.
You know what I don't get? How come you can take screenshots on Pornhub, but you can't take them on Netflix?
You know how many things are re-uploaded and shared, and like the level of like lack of copyright claims that actually exist on the hub? It's like nothing. It's like the same 5 videos are uploaded like 20 times. Yeah. But when it comes to like actually worrying about sharing, can you really not take a screenshot on mobile Netflix?
No, mobile Netflix you cannot take it. Or I can. I try, but I can't take a screenshot. No.
Huh.
But Pornhub, I can take as many as I want. It's just kind of to me, like from like when you scratch the surface, it just sounds kind of weird. But whatever. I mean, I'm glad that you can take screenshots on Pornhub for personal reasons. But sometimes you see something on Netflix and you're like, oh, that's cool. I want to try and take a screenshot. Damn it, it's black again. It's like, I don't want to look at the abyss. Come on.
Sometimes you gotta look at the abyss, man.
You know, but then it starts staring back, and then it just becomes a really weird staring contest.
And stares back into your soul, the abyss. It comes for us all.
Yeah, but then it just gets awkward because you don't have anything to say to it, and it really doesn't say much back, so you're just kind of staring at each other. It's just like...
The abyss holds all information, but yet gives nothing back.
Selfish bitch.
All knowledge eventually goes towards the abyss, while nothing comes back. Anyway, speaking of, like, sending information into other places, I built a secondary capture station for my video game and sort of other stuff with my secondary channel, the gaming channel.
Yeah.
So, a couple months back, or like about a month back, BVids shared this like $20 HDMI to USB capture card that exists out in the world and people use, and they back it, and it's super like no name, but still actually functions and is a pretty good deal from most people. I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take like this pile of old computer parts that my roommates and I have sort of like acquired, build up a secondary computer, set it up, get this capture card running, and then try to find a way to capture gameplay footage off of it and possibly render out to secondary video. That way my main computer system isn't bogged down with running the program and encoding at the same time. So I was able to sort of start the process of getting that set up. I have the computer build, I have it all plugged in, I have it connected to my main gaming computer. I just need to figure out settings and whatnot at this point. So I'm pretty excited about that. So in theory, I could broadcast my games now if I wanted to, or just have a higher bitrate recording setting to my on the recording computer, and not have to worry about it taking up compute room on my main gaming computer.
How's the gaming channel coming along?
It's back and forth, I would say. I mean, I'm 10 episodes deep, I think 11, I think at this point, or something. I don't know. I can't remember. But the point is, I don't know. It's trying to balance doing the work for you for this podcast, doing my normal 8-hour job every day, and finding time to play for an hour, write for an hour, edit for an hour as well. So it's a 3-hour task that I'm trying to do daily for that channel, while also maintain a proper workflow for this channel, while also trying not to die, because other than eating, reviewing games, and working on this podcast, I have to find time to eat and cook and like go grocery shopping during the week. And I'm just like, okay, where can I fit all of this together while also maintaining a decent sleep schedule?
The more we talk about food and eating, the more I think about food and eating. I'm hungry.
Oh, so speaking of food, though, you know how like I had that big giant container of rotini pasta and how I killed it off?
Yeah.
And then I had this like 5-liter, one of those like containers, pantry, canisters that you put stuff in. I filled it back up with more rotini. So I think I'm officially, I think, addicted to rotini. So
I mean, pasta is amazing. So I can't say that I blame you for that, because that is awesome, because pasta is great.
Yeah, I just felt like so, I don't know, I don't want to say like white trash, but like so basic, because I bought like this big giant jug of Prego pasta sauce as well. So I'm just like, all right, great. Saute some garlic, throw some meatballs in, cover it with pasta, cover it with the pasta sauce, cook the pasta, throw it all together, done. I'm just like, great. So I'm eating fine, probably not well, because my carb intake is probably through the roof, but you know how it is.
Yeah, you live some, you lose some, I think.
It is what it is, Kay.
You eat more, you live less, goddamn it. In that context, I'm okay with it. In that context, it doesn't bother me. Now I can, every time I come to you in the DMs, which is very rarely, but every time I come to you in the DMs, as in, every time I come to you, it's like, and I start bitching about something, he's like, damn it, he's coming over bitching again. All you have to do is just shoot back, well, it is what it is. And it's just, damn it. Oh, well, whatever.
I don't think, you don't actually, was that a hypothetical whenever you come over and bitch? Because honestly, I don't think you ever, like, complain to me.
Very rarely do I.
Private messaging.
No, I don't bitch to you that often. No, I think I might have done it once or twice as like a joke. But usually the extent of our conversations outside of the actual recording booth are, hey, are you ready yet? And like 10 minutes later, I'll be ready in like 20 minutes. Okay, cool. That's mostly the extent of our conversations outside of the booth.
Yeah, and it's like, it almost keeps these interactions in this podcast feeling more natural, because when we actually do talk to each other about things, it's just like, oh yeah, well, it's actually us updating each other on our lives and whatnot.
Yeah, I like doing it that way, because it kind of keeps everything fresh, genuine. It's not like we have to rehearse any of this crap. We just talk to each other. It kind of makes me wonder, like the people who do like music reactions, which I'm not a big fan of reaction channels, but the people who do stuff like that, like reactions and such, do they have to limit what they listen to or what they watch? Do they have to limit that? Like, if they see a new music video come out, do they have to like stay away from it for a while until they can record it, or how does that work?
What, react channels?
Yeah, react channels. Like if they react to music videos or something, like do they have to hold off? Like when they see a new music video come out, are they like, oh, I want to watch that, but I have to wait because I need to record my reaction because I want it to be genuine? That's just something I would wonder about.
I know. Because how often do people just accidentally see a music video out and about?
Well, no, it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be like accidentally seeing music video. It would just be like you're scrolling YouTube and you see it on your feed or something, and it's just like, oh, I can't watch that yet because I have to wait.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think that would be necessarily a problem with a lot of people. I think that, judging off of my own YouTube experience and how I interact with it, chances are, I mean, most of the not just the main videos I watch are just mostly off of my watch later playlist, which I just fill up with nothing but my subscription feed. And anything that isn't something that I'm already just, if I was a reaction person, I probably would just add it to some list and be like, oh yeah, I'll definitely get back to that later. Because there's nothing like compulsory saying that, you have to watch this video right now. It would just be self-discipline, being like, I'm a reaction channel. I react to, I don't know, K-pop videos or something like that. Be like, oh, so-and-so just, whatever this one group is, put out a new music video. Oh, well, all right, let me just set up my recording things. And if I want to watch it right now, then let me record the video right now. Or just having the self-discipline to be like, no, don't watch it right now. Wait till you have everything set up and then you can watch it.
That's something I couldn't do, because it's like if I see Sabaton drop a new video, I'm gonna instantly watch that, or as soon as I possibly can, I'm gonna watch it. I wouldn't want to go through the trouble of, okay, I mean, it's granted, for somebody who does it a lot, it's probably not a lot of trouble. But let's say I had to do a podcast and talk about it every time. I was like, okay, gotta set the mic, gotta swap the cords out, unplug the PS4, plug in the computer. I gotta set all of it up, bring up the software and everything. I wouldn't want to, personally, I wouldn't want to do that, just to talk about a video in our case, or watch a video. I would just want to watch it, as soon as I could, because it's Sabaton. I really love that band. I really love their music. I want to see what they've done. So for me, being a reaction channel for things that I really, really enjoy, I don't think I could do that, because I don't think it's a discipline thing. It's just like, I just don't, maybe it is a self-discipline thing. I don't really know.
I think in that case, the way you explained it, how you have to sort of set up your situation of playing video games to recording, you would definitely, if this is your regular situation where you do this on the reg, I think you would have it set up so that you would have your reaction sort of situation set up more often than not. So that way, if you did see it, and you don't have to be like, oh, I got to plug all this in, I got to go do the thing. It would just already be set up for you. That way you can be like, all right, I'm here. I'm excited for this. Hey guys, I'm going to watch this video because I love this band, blah, 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 yada, yada. Let's do this. Play. And you would then you'd have your honest reaction right then and there. If it was something that you're very much, like you said, your main reaction or whatever is something that you just couldn't wait for, you got to do it right now, you would probably have that situation or your reaction set up ready to go at whatever situation it is. That way you can just hop in and do it.
Yeah, I can see people who do this I'm not sure how many people do it for a living, but I can see people who do things like reactions, for like a full-time YouTube thing or whatever, anything, in any video capacity. I can see them having their setup, always there, always ready to go, because just get it ready and there you have the reaction. For me, though, it would kind of suck, because the luxury of us doing the podcast is, if one of us is having a bad week or a busy week, we can just say, let's hold off until next week, then we can record then, and we usually do that. Usually it's like, hey, busy this week, or hey, not really feeling the recording on our recording day, let's just push it off until next week, or we have too many episodes in the pipeline, let's push it back again. We can go for a week or two without recording. I feel like it would kind of suck if you were a reaction channel, something came out you wanted to see or react to, and you just weren't feeling like putting out that amount of energy that a content creator needs to have. That would kind of suck, in my opinion, because it's like, when you're a content creator, I don't have that YouTuber energy. I don't. That's why I am behind a screen doing this. I'm not in front of a camera being like, hey guys, welcome to whatever. I don't do that. I'm falling over my words, but I don't feel like I could do that. It's like putting out that amount of energy if I don't feel like it. It's like, I just want to watch my video and then just go about my day. And if I feel like talking about it here, I will. But if I'm not feeling like talking about something, I don't have to. And also, if I don't feel like recording, I can just say, hold off for another week. That's all I have to say.
That's the difference between someone, just the nature of the beast when it comes to reaction channels. It's like, one, who cares? Two, well, all right, let me rephrase that. My opinion of reaction channels are extremely low. I don't really care about how people feel, or people being like, oh my god, this thing I'm interested in. All right, great. You can be interested, but why you feel like you need to project your interest in something out in the world, something completely different. Unless I had a connection to that particular individual, but I don't need to know their raw, right away emotions on it. I would rather hear them after the fact, but whatever. That's not where I was going with this. Where I was going with it is completely and totally lost, because I derailed myself and I can't actually remember where I was going with the point. Hold on. Oh, right. I remember now. Because, okay, so the main difference is between that style and the style that we're able to actually put out or attempt to put out, and that's really all anybody is trying to do, is attempting to put out, is two wildly different sort of gameplays, because we put out a product that is sort of just us talking to each other. It's us sitting there having a conversation about things that we've been doing, things we find interesting. Is it gaining a audience? Sort of. Is it something that is sort of typical or follows one particular trend? Not necessarily. While
we're all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about anything and everything on a semi-regular schedule versus someone who's trying to play into the YouTube algorithm, someone who's trying to be that, hey, I'm doing this reaction because it's hot and fresh, and this is something that I have to get out right away so I can be a part of the sort of ecosystem and bubble that's kind of growing around this product or this thing that I am reacting to. Then it's like, okay, great, whatever. This is you being a part of the bubble. While we are sort of excluding ourselves from it, we don't have to be talking about the latest thing right away. There are times where we attempt to have a brief little conversation, like 2 episodes back, we talked a little bit about The Last of Us 2, or there's some topical things that come up. We have like I said, we have the luxury of being able to say, okay, we're going to talk about what we want. We don't have to be limited to it. So if we don't necessarily have to record that exact week, we're not feeling it, we have that luxury of being able to say, maybe not this week. We can come back later. Yeah. While, like I said, like other people, they may not have that because they may not be able to afford literally to wait that much longer. Maybe they need that video to come out right then and there because they have a dedicated Monday upload or whatever, or something like that. And they need to talk about this thing that just happened, because if they don't, nobody's going to care a week later.
The only thing I will add, just like my personal opinion there about reaction channels, and I see that we're actually running low on time, so I'll make it brief. I kind of have a mixed opinion on reaction channels, because I used to start off, I didn't like them, and I'll tell you why. But I will say that I'm a little conflicted on them, because I see some people do them and they're actually really cool people, like Mr. Terry History. He's really cool and he reacts to a lot of things, and I see he's been branching out by like streaming, and I think he's been playing a few games, and so he's doing really, really good, and he seems to be a really nice guy from what I saw. And you have like this, I don't know how old he is. He's a older guy compared to me because I'm young, I guess. Whatever. Early 20s for life. He's called Rockin' Wolf, and he's like a really, really cool looking guy. He seems to be really cool, and He does reaction videos. Like, that's what his whole channel seems to be based off of, and he's like, that's just what he does. And I don't have like any form of issue with those people that do that. But on the other hand, I don't really like reaction channels for the reason that I feel like they're I just feel like they're mooching off of other people's work, because
hardcore.
Now, I know people can fire back at me by saying, under section 42069 of this legal thing says that they are allowed. Fuck you. I'm not saying that it's not allowed legally. I'm saying that, in my opinion, some of these people do it, and I think it's kind of just immoral, because especially if they monetize the content, because it's like you are making money for, let's say 2 hours worth of work. Let's say you record your reaction and it takes you, just say 20 minutes. 20 minutes, even shorter if you're just reacting to music videos or something. So let's say 10 to 20 minutes to, do the actual recording, and it might take you an hour and a half, somewhere around that area, to edit it and then upload it, which takes, I don't know how long it takes to upload. 30 minutes maybe at most.
If you're only making like a 20-minute video, it probably can go up in like 5-10 minutes depending on your upload schedule.
So I'll just generalize that by saying like 2 hours worth of effort compared to someone who will take potentially years upon years of work to make that thing happen. And you go in there as a reaction channel, and you're like, okay, cool, I'll react to this, and I'll make a few dollars off of it, and, I'll only put in 2 hours worth of work. And it took them, say, 2 years to put that together. That's kind of, that's what I don't like about it. But again, you have people that seem to be really, really genuine who do these reactions, and it's like, I really don't want to shit on them because they seem like they're really good people. I just don't really like the reaction channels, in general.
The ecosystem that exists that is able to or sort of allow reaction channels to exist and flourish is terrible. And I hate the idea of just like, there's just some bro out there who's like, yo, what? Dang, that's cool, man. What? She totally did that. Like, every once in a while I'll just fall into a hole of watching videos on Facebook and whatnot. And every once in a while I'll come across like some dude, bro. I don't even know the name of whoever the hell it is. I just know it's the same two white bros sitting there in the corner trying not to say whoa to something, oddly satisfying or whatever. How like something does something cool and they're almost said it. I didn't say it there. Like watching somebody else's videos that they upload and then they're just doing a compilation thing. I'm like, no, fuck off. You're not making content. You're being a barnacle on the side of a ship, you dregs of society piece of shit. Get the fuck off my internet. Don't ever make this content ever again. You're terrible. You're garbage. I hate you. But then there's like another side of everything where, I don't know, there may be a person that shows up every once in a while that actually does react about something that actually seems interesting. There was the Slaughter to Prevail Demolizer music video that came out that everybody was all about, like, oh my god, Russian death metal, how brutal this is, or deathcore or whatever. It's like, oh, how brutal, this guy's sounds so deep, he's like a demon coming from the earth. It's like, yeah, this was a great music video. And then I happened to watch a vocal coach sort of react and talk about what it is. But the half of the enjoyment of that video wasn't so much the guy being like his reactions to it, but him talking about the thing, talking about how it's like, okay, yeah, clearly he's talking about this thing, and you can hear how, when he's singing, it's da 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 da, and he's instead of being very front in it, he's going more back. And obviously, I tell my students to be much more deeper and very like feel it from deep inside, not actually using the throat or whatever. It sort of gives me a window into the world of being a singer and being this person that is of a genre, something that you may not think about it. So it's like, okay, I get a sort of a educational aspect out of it. But if you're out there just being like, oh man, that's so sick, oh man, I can't, what, oh that almost took off his head, oh man, what, so brutal, shut up, fuck off, I don't care, get out of my face.
Yeah, I don't go for those types of channels. Now, I think the thing with Mr. Terry History is that he's an actual history teacher. So whenever he reacts to those videos, he can like add additional knowledge to the subject and stuff like that, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see, knowledge, just knowledge. It's really cool to see him add that extra bit of stuff to it. It's, I don't know, it's just really interesting because some of these reaction channels are like really cool and they have things to add, and then other ones, like you said, are just whoa.
There's even a level that you can go for the educational side of things, and I'm just like, fuck off, I don't care. Like all these like lawyer reacts to courtroom scene from some movie. It's like, well, actually he wouldn't do this. I mean that's fairly spot on, but really when you're in a case or something, I'm like, fuck off, I don't care. There are some times where like, or the doctor reacts to whatever that autistic doctor show is or whatever. It's like, yeah, well, he just got a malpractice suit. And I'm like, yeah, because this show is garbage. It's weird. Like, I'll sit there and say, like, okay, yeah, understanding the job behind it is cool, and understanding, like, the music and singing and whatnot is cool and whatever. But then I'll also turn around and I'll say, I don't give a shit about this doctor saying what is real and not real in this hospital show. Maybe it's because I actually had a connection to, I actually liked the Slaughter to Prevail example, and I don't give a shit about any of these hospital dramas. Maybe that's my connection.
What I really liked was the one where they brought in the I forget his name. He was a former Kappa for the Mafia, and he I think he played through sections of like the Hitman games or the Mafia games or something. and he went over a few. He looked at a few scenes from mafia films. Seeing somebody with that knowledge that generally does not speak of those things, that was really unique and really, really cool, and I really liked what he had to say. That was really interesting. So when you have a perspective like that, that's different, in my opinion, that is. And, that was really cool. So, but the doctor ones, like, it's kind of like when they had that doctor sit down and watch, like, these Home Alone movies, and he was like, snap this, or, it's like, you could just say they're fucking dead. Nobody's gonna survive that, okay? We get it. They're dead. Their skull has been crushed by the paint can. Their back has been broken when they fell through the floor and landed on the concrete basement. Yeah, those people are dead, okay? We get it. But, when you have, like, unique perspectives, I think it's, for me, it's interesting and different. But I just don't like the bro ones. Whoa, did he just do that? Or I don't.
Oh man. Dude, he just made a ring like that? Oh, that's so cool. Shut up.
One more thing I also don't like.
One more thing. This is the last thing, Kay.
Yeah,
this is the last thing.
Yeah.
One last thing.
I don't like YouTubers who are overly excited. I don't like.
Yeah, because then it falls under like a disingenuine
At that point,
situation.
it's fake. Because I think I saw a lot of channels trying to. This was kind of like, I think this was when Markiplier was like, starting to gain, popularity like rapidly, and so it, he very loud, he screamed a lot, and that was just what he did. And I saw like this slew of failing YouTubers just trying to mimic it. Like they would do their intro and they would just straight up shout, and it would just be like, you're not coming off as funny, you're just coming off as annoying.
Obnoxious,
annoying, everything else in between. Yeah. Because I know there's this one dude, I won't say his name, but he's also Reaction Channel, and it's really weird because he's like extremely energetic whenever he does his intros, and he like tries to keep the energy throughout the entire video, and he's just like constantly pausing, and I hate it because he always like smacks his keyboard, so he makes like this clicking sound reverberate through his room, and it's annoying as fuck to me. And he's like pausing the video like every 5 seconds. Oh my god, did he just do that? It's like, fuck off, dude. Get out of my fucking face. Get off, like you said, get off my fucking internet. I don't know.
Yeah.
It irks me and it annoys me, and I don't know. Either way, that was a little rant on Reaction Channels to end the episode with. I think we'll end it here unless you have anything else to add.
You know what? It's the difference between like Reaction, and you'll see where I'm going with this in a second.
Of course.
It's the difference between someone's upfront sort of misinformed gut reaction versus a well typed out, well thought out reaction to a situation or event, or almost a review of a situation that might be more stimulating to some people's YouTube watching situation. So if you happen to enjoy well thought out, well written reviews of maybe, let's say, video games, then why don't you go check out Mummified Games? Shameless plug, yeah.
Do it.
If you guys want to go check it out, I'm up to like, I think like 10 or 11 episodes at time of recording.
It's great.
Check it out. I like making it, even though sometimes I don't have enough time to get it all done.
As long as you enjoy it, then you will do just fine. I can at least say that.
My last game definitely was not enjoyable, but it was definitely something I was able to talk about.
I haven't seen it, so I gotta check out all of your episodes.
Yeah, they're pretty short. They're only like about 5-10 minutes each, and I try to keep them fairly concise.
With that, we will say goodbye. Everybody, you can check us out on Twitter. You can check the show out at The Maybe Pile, or
nope.
at Maybe Pile Pod. You can ask us questions with hashtag AskTheMaybePile. You can find me on Twitter at Kuryoku Writes. My latest tweet as of today is just I am hungry, because I'm hungry and I want to go get food after this. You can follow Tony at Mummified Tony. And I believe that is about it. Please subscribe if you enjoy the content, and just please be safe out there.
Leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. Yes.
There's something that you want us to talk about, or if you have an opinion about React channels, or whatever.
Please check us out on our social medias, and debate us. If you want to. I don't have time to do it, so I won't. But you can let us know your opinions. I will read those, and let us know if you have any questions with hashtag #AskTheMaybePile. And please let us know your thoughts on anything that's going on with the show. And we will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and leave a comment. And goodbye.
Bye-bye.